How's it going, guys? This is Savage Actual Gaming. Today I'm going to be showing you some few basic principles to be better at the game Zero Caliber on VR for the PC. So, one of the first things that I really want to talk about is actually utilizing this range. Now, as you can see, I'm not a particularly high level yet, so I don't have all the guns unlocked, but it's still important to make sure that you get time to practice with all the weapons that are currently and presently available to you. I know that there's a range in development, but it's not ready yet, so I know that it'll be a little bit of time before that's available to us to be a little bit more immersive for the training. So let's talk about some few basic mechanics. Now, let's go over the loadout real quick. As you can see on your chest, you'll have 2 grenades, and then this is your belt right here. This is where you're going to draw your magazines and your ammunition from, your spare ammunition. Now, one of the main reasons that I like to harp on this is because when you're training, you are actually getting better at engaging your targets and getting used to some of the game mechanics. For example, sometimes when you go to aim down your sight, your weapon will get stuck in this weird limbo where your sights are doing this crazy stuff that you're not intending to happen. So it'll help you to develop the muscle memory that you'll need to be more effective at engaging your targets. So one thing I would really like to talk about for this game in particular too is the mechanics for they really thought out how the controllers themselves can be realistic and dexterous towards a real working firearm. As you can see here, you have a standard M4 carbine style weapon, and the magazine release is going to be your A button right under your right thumbstick, which I've calibrated to also assist in my turning so that I'm not getting my Oculus headset wire wrapped around me. But it's really important, while you're sitting here to practice your speed reloads without looking, because if you're down here fumbling with your belt, you're not looking at the targets in front of you. So, and you can get really efficient with them if you're really smart and you really practice your drills here. So I'm reloading without even looking, and it helps me keep an essay on what's going on in the battlefield around me. It's also important to make sure that you understand your weapon's functionality. For example, the M4, in real life, once you go empty, the bolt is going to lock to the rear. So what you want to do is you want to drop that magazine out, grab your fresh magazine, insert it, and instead of pulling the charging handle, which you can do, but instead, in real life, the M4 has this bolt release, and to activate that, you're just going to press, I believe it's Y on the controller, or sorry, it is the B button. Now the X and Y button, the X button changes your fire selector. So that's important. I typically run my carbines in semi-auto because the full auto mode is a little unmanageable and you burn through your ammunition way too fast. And I think they've really overdone the recoil on the M4, which is pretty annoying to me, to be honest. Because as I understand, the M4 in real life doesn't have as much recoil as they've given it. Alright, and then, to add to that, if you're talking about like your AK style weapon, so this gun, when it is empty, it does not lock the bolt to the rear. So you're going to drop your magazine out, insert a fresh magazine, and what I like to do is I like to just pull my gun to the side like this, rack it, and then you're back in the fight. Cool. So another reason that that's an effective thing to know is because when you're utilizing handguns, so you go empty, you drop it, put your fresh magazine in, release the slide. Because as you can see, that when this gun is empty, it locks to the rear, insert fresh magazine, press your slide release, which is the B button. Alright. Yay! So, there's that piece that I think is extremely crucial to being effective at this game. So now I want to run quick through the boot camp mission. Now, this mission is pretty easy. I do think it's missing a couple of things. There's a couple of game mechanics that are actually missing from the level itself. You could sit there and listen to this guy's speech, but I like to just get right into it. Pretty cool. The graphics aren't super great, but they're also not the worst. So one thing I did notice about this section is you can actually just run right across. But if you do want to do it, I recommend taking a knee, being careful not to knee on your Oculus headset wire, and then running back through here. But you can usually sprint through. Now for climbing, pretty easy. Just hold your triggers. Woo! So you can actually throw yourself pretty easily, but if you're not trying to like swing your hands around like that, it might be easier for you to bring your controller to about waist level, and you can actually press forward, and you can actually vault things. It's pretty tough to do it right there because your guy's like hanging there, but also, when you can grab stuff, your gloves will light up, so that's nice. So you don't let go on accident because you thought you had a good grip and you didn't. Like I said, there's a couple things lacking. For example, ladder mechanics is something that could be used on this, but you can see if I can vault this. Yep. So you just walk right up to it, you push down on it while holding forward on your movement stick, and you'll vault over objects, which is really nice, really useful when you're trying to advance quickly.
You can also attract firearms from a short distance. Grab that pistol and show those fucking good.
Cool, right?
You're familiar with every last weapon on this
That was the Desert Eagle. You don't get to unlock that. Oh, another cool thing that I don't know if the people know about this game is you can actually hold on to guns that you haven't unlocked yet, and you can use them throughout. As long as you hold on to them and you finish the level with them, you can use them for the remainder of the campaign. Weapon attachment, super easy. You just kind of hover it over. It usually just slaps right on. There we go. Shotguns are always really fun. So that's a reload you might want to learn to do on without looking, but not super important. See, you can see right there what I was talking about with the whole gun getting stuck on your face almost and becoming harder to acquire your sights. Now, the sniper rifle mechanics are a little clunky in this game, especially if you're trying to use an optic. Aiming can be a real pain in the butt because as you can see, it's not like super clear. They may have actually worked on this recently. I haven't been on this game in a minute, so it actually works a little bit better than I remember it. Oh, another cool thing is you can actually see your guy kind of pulling the slack out of the trigger before he actually releases the shot. So I seen some YouTubers shooting and then using their opposite hand to reload, but that's kind of not within the dexterity of the weapon itself. So it's not necessary to do that. You can just do what I did there. Kind of cant it to the side and run your bolt. Grenade mechanics, kind of simple, a little tricky because sometimes when you're in the heat of a moment you don't really see the pin light up. I just use like a real gentle lobbing technique. I mean, you can really fucking yeet these things. Yeah. But you can see that they'll go pretty far. But just be careful, you know, you don't punch your cat in the head or something, or punch your mom who's trying to give you some Tostino's pizza rolls. You know, good stuff. All right, this portion is really pretty easy. So one thing in particular about the MP5 is the iron sights are pretty tricky to use. So I just try to use like point shooting, but it's not perfect, you know, like these sights are pretty difficult to use. So I typically just run through this portion with my M4. Now obviously I'm just running through this for speed right now to try and get you guys through the boring stuff that you don't really want to sit through. The next portion is pretty interesting. You're gonna oh, another fun fact. Most of these guns on the top of the Humvees are actually accessible. Like, you can actually use them. Yep, you can use this one, which I think is pretty cool. Let's see if we can nail some of those targets over there. Oh, we're maxed out on the... I like how they actually made the 50 cal so that... Actually, I'm not sure if they did this on purpose, but I really love how you can see the belt going in and kind of withdrawing from the box. I mean, it does just kind of have that back and forth, almost like a Polaroid picture type of effect to it, where it's not really pulling the whole belt in, but as you get towards the end of that belt, I mean, they have the links and the shells falling out, super good looking, and they actually, like, the iron sights look pretty good too. Kind of hard to use. What I like to do is close one eye and try to focus them on one eye, and I have probably 2 rounds left, so yep. And the box will pop off. You can throw that out of the way. You don't actually open the dust cover, and here's the crazy thing, is if you want to reload this, you actually have to pull the rounds from your belt. So you're going to pull this massive ammo box out of your belt. You don't have to put the rounds into the feed tray. They'll be there automatically. Now, I know you used to have to cock this twice. In real life, you have to cock the 50 cal twice, but if I do it again, okay, it expends a round. So they did change the machine gun, so now you only have to pull the charging handle once. Again, so we can like vault, see if we can vault out of this Jeep. Yeah, the other thing is it's a real pain in the ass to get out of these Jeeps once you're in them. So I usually just try to get up on the hood of the Jeep and manipulate the gun in a way that's conducive towards whatever battlefield I'm a part of at that point in time. The G3 is an excellent weapon. It's got a really high damage, which I like, because some of these guns, they don't punch as hard as you expect them to. So this is an actual portion where they're going to spawn some live actors for you to kill. I mean, the way they kind of get around it is it's just kind of like your training platoon helping you by giving you some live guys to practice on. And then after that, you run out here.
You did great. The OSA is proud to welcome you to ranks.
So beautiful, beautiful man. Look at this.
You
don't get this.
Jobs, convert or slaughter everybody. So, we'll postpone the rest of your initiation to another day. Pack up and be ready to move out ASAP, soldier.
Alright, so that's some of the basic training. Now, I did want to briefly talk about the ladder mechanics real quick. Is while you're climbing the ladder, press forward. You can actually press forward on your movement stick, and you will stick to the ladder. And that's cool because if you want to keep your gun up while you're climbing that ladder, you can climb with one hand essentially, and then as you come over the top of that ladder, any enemies you can essentially shoot with whatever gun you have in that one hand, preferably or most easily a handgun usually. All right, that's all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope that you guys subscribe and comment what you liked about the video, anything that I can improve on. And again, it's Savage Actual Gaming. Make sure you guys have a good day.